Hello, speech classmates, and maybe YouTube people. I'm Jaden Mertz, and for this next speech, I'm going to be commemorating one of the most influential people in the world of filmmaking for how much he not only means to me as a big fan of his works, but how he has changed the history of how we are not only creating movies, but how they are produced. He has created a handful of box office hits, that being from science fiction like Jurassic Park or E.T., to being realistic as seen in The Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. And that man is none other than Steven Spielberg. Spielberg didn't just direct movies. He created other worlds that, despite being fictional, felt as if you were right there with the characters in that moment. They felt as though you were feeling the loss of E.T. as he was taken away from Elliot, or being on the edge of your seat as Alan Grant and the kids hid themselves away from a giant T-Rex. Spielberg gave us more than films. He gave us a deeper understanding of what it means to have emotions. First, let's go over how he changed the way we experience movies. In 1975, Spielberg released Jaws, a movie that didn't just single-handedly ruin a few trips for families hoping to go on the beach. It created the modern summer blockbuster. According to Peter Biskind in his book, Easy Riding, Raging Bull's Jaws, it completely transformed how Hollywood released and marketed films. Before, films were released once they were finished, having a set time of the sooner the better. But Spielberg began making films with set release dates to what they were about. That made the audience feel more connected with the movie, as if it were happening right then and there. Suddenly, movies were major events following the format of how High School Musicals usually come out at the end of the school year, and huge box office hits, and horror movies opening the weeks leading up to Halloween. He once said in the New York Times, "Every time I go to the movies, it's magic, no matter what the movie's about." And Spielberg makes us believe in that magic. But he didn't just entertain us using science fiction or the massive realistic puppets. He made us face history. In 1993, Spielberg released The Schindler's List. It wasn't just a film. It was a turning point in how the Holocaust was remembered in global popular culture. And he didn't just stop whenever the credits stopped rolling. He donated all of the profits to the USC Shoah Foundation, which has since collected over 55,000 interviews with survivors of the Holocaust. In 2004, Spielberg gave a speech on his thoughts of making films about the past, saying the only way to stop genocide is to look it in the eye without shame. Through storytelling, Spielberg taught us empathy and making sure that we don't forget. Another way Spielberg changed the world is how he inspires others to follow their dreams. Directors like J.J. Abrams, Jordan Peele, and even Greta Gerwig have cited Spielberg as a major influence. In 2018, articles from Variety magazine titled Spielberg's Legacy in Hollywood, where filmmakers were calling him a creative northern star. J.J. Abrams said, "Everything I've ever done is an attempt to capture the spirit of Spielberg's movies." Spielberg also founded DreamWorks, giving a platform to younger voices and launching a new era of animated and live-action storytelling. So he didn't just create iconic stories, he empowered others to create their own. Spielberg was also a pioneer in combining technology with storytelling. Jurassic Park wasn't just a cool movie, it was revolutionary for the time. It used a mixed media of both practical and digital effects, with the help of CGI and animatronic puppets that set a new standard for visual effects. But what made it unforgettable wasn't just the dinosaurs. It was how he involved the atmosphere of the theater in the production of the movies, using the open space to expand upon his creativity with how noises could echo off walls instead of blaring loudspeakers. Spielberg used technology not just for spectacle, but to deepen the emotional impact. As The Atlantic noted in 2021 retrospective, Spielberg was the rare director who saw technology as a way to tell more human stories. As we came to a time where most movies started involving digital explosions, Spielberg reminded us emotion always comes first. So why does it mean to change the world? It means to tell the stories that inspire us to tell our own. stories that help us heal, that help us see each other more clearly. Steven Spielberg made that possible for us. Through film, he gave us wonder, truth, and inspiration. Spielberg once said, "I dream for a living." And because of him, generations of us learned how to use that too. Let's celebrate not just the director, but the human behind the camera. A storyteller, a teacher, and a change maker. Thank you, Steven Spielberg, and thank you all for watching.